The market of Vera 9 had no laws, at least none that mattered. Under the harsh light of twin suns, thousands of aliens moved through the crowded bazaar, shouting prices, trading weapons, food, stolen technology, and sometimes people. The air smelled of fuel, dust, spices, and overheated machinery. Cargo ships hovered above the market on magnetic anchors. Merchants shouted from every direction. Security drones watched everything. And somehow, nobody watched the woman chained to the pole. Her name was Thessaly. At least, that was the name she remembered. For 11 days, she had been standing beneath the rusted metal awning beside an abandoned loading station. The chain was locked around her wrist. A second chain connected her ankle to a metal post. There was a piece of scrap metal hanging above her. Someone had scratched a single word into it. Free. Not free because she was liberated. Free because nobody wanted her. She had been abandoned. The first day, she had been angry. The second day, she had begged. By the 5th day, she had stopped speaking. By the 11th, she was barely standing. Then Cole Ashby walked into the market. Cole was a human. He was 36 years old, broad-shouldered, permanently tired, and the captain of a battered cargo hauler called the Wayward Star. He wasn't a hero. He didn't consider himself brave. He transported machinery between frontier colonies and occasionally hauled whatever legal cargo paid. Enough to keep his ship flying. His philosophy was simple: keep the engines running, pay the bills, don't get shot, and never get involved in other people's problems. That last rule had kept him alive for years. It was also the rule he was about to break. Cole was carrying a crate of coolant cells when he noticed the woman. He almost walked past. Then he saw the chain. He stopped. The woman lifted her head. Her skin was pale silver, almost gray beneath the dust. 2 thin ridges ran along the sides of her neck. Her eyes were dark blue. She looked exhausted. Cole glanced at the sign. Free. The woman said nothing. Cole looked around. Nobody cared. A merchant nearby laughed. She's been there 11 days. Cole turned toward him. 11? The merchant shrugged. Previous owner couldn't sell her. Owner. Corporate asset. Cole stared at the woman. What's wrong with her? The merchant laughed again. Everything, Cole. Didn't like the sound of that. The woman finally spoke. Her voice was barely audible. Water. Cole looked at her. She wasn't asking for credits. She wasn't asking to be released. Just water. Cole put down the crate. He walked to a nearby vendor, bought a canteen, and returned. He held it toward her. The woman stared at it suspiciously. You can drink, Cole said. She hesitated. Why? Cole frowned. Because you're thirsty. Nothing is free. Cole looked at the sign above her, then back at her. Yeah, he said quietly. I've noticed. He placed the canteen against her hands. She drank slowly at first, then desperately. Cole waited until she finished. What happened to you? The woman lowered her eyes. They erased me. Cole didn't understand. Who? The Korathi. That name meant something. Everyone in the frontier knew the Korathi Combine, one of the largest corporations in known space. They owned shipyards, mining worlds, military contracts, and half the major transport routes. They also had their own private fleet. Cole looked at the chain. Why did they sell you? I wasn't sold. Then what are you doing here? They tried to make me disappear. Cole stared at her. The woman looked toward the twin suns. My name is Thessaly. Cole crouched beside the lock. Can you walk? Yes. Can you keep up? Yes. Good. She looked confused. Cole pulled a cutting tool from his belt. What are you doing? Breaking the lock. Her eyes widened. You shouldn't. Probably not. They will come. Who? The people who put me here. Cole activated the cutter. The chain snapped. The sound was surprisingly loud. For the first time in 11 days, Thessaly was free. She looked down at the broken chain, then at Cole. Where do I go? Cole stood. He didn't have a good answer, so he gave her the only one he had. Anywhere. But here, they had taken 5 steps. When the first security drone spotted them, a red light appeared. Overhead, unauthorized asset removal detected. Cole. You read, I was afraid of that, the drone. Fired. Cole shoved Thessaly behind a cargo container. A plasma bolt struck the wall where her head had been. Run! They sprinted through the market. Merchants screamed, aliens. Scattered. More drones rose from their docking racks. Cole knew the market well, enough to know where the exits were. But the problem was that Thessaly wasn't just being chased by security drones. She was being hunted by the Karathi Combine, and the Karathi didn't send drones when they wanted someone alive. They sent soldiers. Cole reached the Wayward Star. He threw open the cargo ramp. Inside, Thessaly climbed aboard. Cole jumped into the cockpit. The engines screamed. A dozen warning lights appeared. Come on. Old girl. The ship lifted. A missile passed underneath them. Cole punched the thrusters. The Wayward Star shot between two towers. A Karathi patrol craft followed. That's a military ship. Thessaly said, I noticed. They won't stop. I noticed that too, Cole. Push the engines beyond their safety limit. The ship shook violently. Thessaly grabbed a railing. Your engine is damaged. Cole glanced at her. It's always damaged. No, she pointed toward the engine display. The coolant circulation is wrong. Cole blinked. What? You're losing 30% thrust because the thermal exchange loop is misaligned. Cole stared at her. How do you know that? I designed the system. Silence. Cole slowly looked back at her. You designed my engine? No. She looked at the controls. I designed the technology your engine was copied from. Cole almost missed the next turn. You're telling me you invented this? The original version. Who owns it? The woman looked at him. The Karathi Combine. That explained everything. The stolen technology, the corporate hunters, the abandoned engineer, the word-free. Cole suddenly understood why the corporation had been willing to leave her chained in a market. They didn't want her. They wanted her knowledge gone, but apparently they had made one mistake. They had left her live. Cole flew into a debris field surrounding the dead moon of Vey. Karos, hundreds of broken ships drifted through space. The Karathi patrol ship slowed. Cole smiled. They don't know this. Field. Thessaly looked at him. You do. I used to smuggle medical supplies through here. You're a smuggler. Cargo hauler. Those aren't mutually exclusive. Cole smiled. I like you already. He cut the engines. The Wayward Star drifted silently between wreckage. The Karathi ship entered the field. Cole waited. 1 second, 2, 3. Then he fired the maneuvering thrusters. The Wayward Star slipped behind a destroyed cruiser. Karathi ship fired blindly. The blast struck the wreckage. Cole accelerated. They escaped. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then Thessaly said, Why did you help me? Cole looked at her. I don't know. That isn't an answer. He thought about it. Maybe because everybody else walked past. Thessaly looked down. I was waiting for someone to do that. Do what? Stop. Cole said nothing. The Wayward Star left the debris field, but the story wasn't over. 3 hours later, Cole received a distress signal. It came from a refugee convoy. 27 civilian ships were trying to reach a neutral colony. The Karathi fleet had blocked their route. Cole could have ignored them. He almost did. Then Thessaly looked at him. You're thinking about helping them, Cole sighed. I hate that you can read me already. You're not difficult to read. That's insulting. It wasn't intended to be. Cole changed course. The refugee convoy appeared ahead. 27. Ships, children, families, workers, medical. Transports, old cargo vessels with engines barely functioning. Behind them was a Karathi destroyer. Its weapons were already charging. Cole opened a broadcast. Channel, this is civilian cargo vessel Wayward Star. The Karathi commander responded. Leave the area. Immediately? Cole smiled. Can't do that. You are interfering with corporate security operations. Cole looked at Thessaly. Corporate security? She shook her head. Those are not security operations. What are they? They are killing witnesses. Cole's expression changed. He opened the public channel. This is Captain Cole Ashby. Every ship in the convoy heard him. The Karathi Combine is preparing to fire on civilian refugee vessels. The Karathi commander immediately interrupted. Terminate this broadcast, Cole continued. I'm transmitting the coordinates to every open network I can reach, Thessaly. Stared at him. What are you doing? Making sure everyone knows. The Karathi destroyer. Fired. Cole swung the wayward star between the destroyer and the convoy. The blast hit their shield's warning alarm, screamed. Cole's ship shook. We can't survive another hit. Thessaly said, I know. The main engine is overheating. I know. The shields are failing. I know. Thessaly looked at him. Then why are you smiling? Cole gripped the controls. Because you told me you designed the engine. Thessaly understood. She ran toward the engineering station. Give me 3. You have 2. She opened the engine panel. The wayward star had been built around outdated technology. But inside that ancient ship was a system based on her stolen invention. Thessaly rewired the thermal exchange loop. Then she removed a component. Cole shouted from the cockpit. What are you doing? Making your engine unsafe. It already was. Now it will be useful. The engine temperature climbed. The ship accelerated. Faster, faster. Then suddenly the wayward star vanished from the destroyer's targeting system. Cole stared at the display. What did you do? Your drive is bending the local sensor field. Cole laughed. You built an invisible ship? No, Thessaly smiled for the first time. I built a ship that doesn't have to be where the enemy thinks it. As Cole swung behind the destroyer, the refugee convoy escaped. The Karathi commander tried to follow, but the convoy had already transmitted everything. The footage, the attack, the corporate orders, the abandoned engineer, the stolen technology. The galaxy watched. Within hours, the broadcast reached neutral worlds. Within a day, it reached major systems. Within 3 days, governments began demanding answers. The Karathi combined denied everything. Then Thessaly appeared on the public network. She didn't wear a uniform. She didn't stand behind a podium. She simply sat inside the cargo ship that had rescued her. Her hands still carried scars from the chains. Name is Thessaly Vey. She paused. For 11 days, I was called V2271. She told the galaxy everything. She explained how she had developed a revolutionary propulsion system, how the Karathi Corporation had stolen it, how executives had patented it under another scientist's name, how her laboratory had been destroyed, how her colleagues had disappeared, how she had been sold into forced labor, and how, eventually, she had been abandoned because the corporation believed nobody would care whether she lived. The galaxy listened. Then, Cole leaned toward the microphone, and somebody should have cared. That sentence spread farther than anything else, not because it was brilliant, not because it was political, because it was simple. People understood it. A person had been left to die. Someone stopped, that was all. Weeks later, the Karathi Combine began collapsing under investigations. The stolen patents were overturned. The refugee convoy reached safety, and Thessaly was offered positions by governments, universities, military fleets, and corporations. She rejected almost all of them. Instead, she created the Open Drive initiative. The technology was released publicly. No corporation could own it. No government could lock it away. No single species could claim it. Humanity helped build the first free access drive network. The galaxy changed. Trade routes opened. Remote colonies became reachable. Medical ships crossed distances that once took months, and eventually, the first ships traveled beyond the old frontier. All because one engineer had been given another chance. Months after the escape, Cole returned to Vera 9. He walked through the same market. The metal pole was still there, but the sign was gone. Someone had painted over it. Cole stood there for a moment. Then Thessaly approached. She had changed. She was healthier now. Her silver skin had regained its natural color. She wore a simple engineer's jacket. Cole smiled. Remember this place? Yes. How does it feel? She looked at the pole. Different. Because you're free? Thessaly shook her head. No, she looked at him. Because I understand what freedom means. Now, Cole waited. It isn't being released from a chain. She touched the old metal post. It is knowing that someone will help you stand. When you fall, Cole smiled. You getting philosophical on me? Possibly. That's dangerous, she laughed. It was the first time Cole had heard her laugh. A group of children ran through the market. Nobody paid attention to the old pole. Nobody knew what had happened there, and perhaps that was fitting, because the most important part of the story had never been the corporation. It had never been the stolen technology. It had never been the warships. It had been a canteen of water, a broken chain, and one human being who decided that walking past was no longer acceptable. Cole turned toward his ship. You coming? Thessaly looked at him. Where? He smiled. Anywhere. She walked beside him. This time, she wasn't following because she had nowhere else to go. She was choosing where she wanted to be. And behind them, beneath the twin suns of Vera 9, the old metal pole stood empty. No chain, no prisoner, no sign, just an empty place where someone had once been considered worthless. The galaxy would remember Thessaly Vey as the engineer who changed interstellar travel. Some would remember Cole Ashby as the human who started the chain of events. But Cole always told a different version. Whenever someone called him a hero, he shook his head. I just stopped. And whenever someone asked Thessaly what changed her life, she gave the same answer. Someone offered me water without asking what I could give him in return. That was the beginning. Not a battle, not a revolution, not a weapon, just kindness. And sometimes, in a galaxy full of corporations, armies, empires, and people willing to look away, kindness was the most dangerous force of all, because once someone remembers that they deserve to be free, it becomes very difficult to make them a prisoner again. The Wayward Star was no longer just a cargo ship. After Thessaly's broadcast, the galaxy knew its name. That was a problem, a very big problem. Cole sat in the cockpit and watched dozens of encrypted messages appear across the communication panel. Some were from governments, some were from journalists, some were from corporations, and a few were threats. Cole stared at the screen. I miss being anonymous. Thessaly sat behind him. You were never anonymous. I was to me. She almost smiled. Then a red warning appeared. Unknown vessel approaching. Cole's expression changed. That's not a civilian ship. Thessaly checked the sensor display. No. How many? 3. Cole leaned forward. Karathi? She nodded. They found us. The 3 ships emerged from hyperspace. They were smaller than the destroyer that had chased them before, but they were faster, much faster. Cole activated the engines. The Wayward Star moved away from the station. A message came through. Captain Cole Ashby. Cole looked at Thessaly. They know my name, the voice continued. Return V2271 immediately. Thessaly's hands tightened. Cole opened the channel. She has a name. There was a pause. Then the Karathi commander answered. Names are irrelevant. Cole smiled coldly. Funny. What? You people always say that when someone's name becomes inconvenient. The transmission ended. A missile launched. Cole pushed the ship into a hard turn. The missile passed close enough to shake the hull. Okay, Cole said. They're definitely not here to negotiate. Thessaly rushed to the engineering station. I can increase the drive output. Cole shook his head. You'll burn the engine. Then we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes for what? To escape. Cole grinned. Now you're talking. Thessaly opened the drive controls. The engine began to glow. The Wayward Star accelerated. 1 Karathi ship followed, then another. The 3rd moved ahead. They're trying to box us in, Thessaly said. Cole studied the tactical display. There's a moon ahead. It's inhabited. Not anymore. What? Cole pointed. The old colony was abandoned 20 years ago. Thessaly looked closer. You know this region well. I've carried cargo everywhere. Cole turned the ship toward the dead moon. The Karathi ships followed. As they entered the moon's atmosphere, Cole shut down the main engines. The Wayward Star dropped. Fast, too fast. Thessaly grabbed the console. We're going to crash. Not today. Cole waited. The ground rushed toward them. 500 meters, 300, 200. Cole activated the thrusters. The ship leveled out only meters above the surface. dust exploded behind them. The Karathi ships followed, but their larger engines couldn't make the turn. One crashed into the surface, another lost control. The third pulled away. Cole laughed. That's why you don't chase a cargo hauler through a graveyard. Thessaly looked at the wreckage. They won't stop. I know. We need allies. Cole nodded. I know someone. 2 hours later, they landed at an old mining settlement. Only a few hundred people lived there. Most were refugees, former workers, families who had escaped corporations and military conflicts. Cole knew the settlement's leader. Her name was Mara Ven. She was an old human woman with a mechanical arm and absolutely no patience. When she saw Thessaly, she immediately understood. You're the engineer. Thessaly nodded. Mara looked at Cole. You brought trouble. Cole shrugged. I brought a person. Mara stared at him. Then she smiled. Same thing, usually. Inside the settlement, Thessaly saw something unexpected. People were already using her technology. Small medical ships, emergency transports, mining drones, water purification systems. All built from designs she had released freely. A young alien boy approached her. Are you Thessaly? Yes. My mother says your drive saved our colony. Thessaly didn't know what to say. The boy handed her a small metal model of a spaceship. I made this. Thessaly took it. It's beautiful, the boy smiled, then he ran away. Thessaly looked at Cole. I never imagined this. Cole nodded. You built something they couldn't steal. What? The future. Before Thessaly could answer, every light in the settlement went dark. Mara entered the room. Karathi. Cole stood. How many? Mara looked through the window. Enough. Outside, ships appeared above the settlement. Not 3 this time. Dozens. The Karathi had brought an entire fleet. A message filled the sky. Return Thessaly Vey. Nobody moved. The message repeated. Return Thessaly Vey. Mara looked at Cole. You're going to tell me we can fight them, aren't you? Cole shook his head. No. Mara blinked. Good. We're going to make them think we're fighting them. Mara smiled. Much better. The settlement had old mining tunnels beneath it. Cole studied the maps. Thessaly studied the power grid. Together, they created a plan. They wouldn't destroy the Karathi fleet. They would expose it. Thessaly opened every communication channel. She transmitted one message. This is Thessaly Vey. The Karathi commander responded immediately. You are surrounded. Yes. You cannot escape. I know. Cole looked at her. She continued. But you can still leave. The commander laughed. You have no authority. Thessaly looked directly into the camera. No, she paused. But the galaxy is watching. Cole activated the transmitters. Every camera in the settlement went live. Then the refugee ships. Then independent stations. Then governments. The Karathi fleet suddenly realized what was happening. Their attack was being broadcast. The commander ordered his ships to fire. They hesitated. Some refused. Then more refused. Because they had families watching. Because soldiers had begun questioning their orders. Because nobody wanted to become the next symbol of corporate murder. The fleet started breaking formation. The commander screamed, "Obey your orders." Nobody did. One by one, the ships turned away. The Karathi operation collapsed without a battle. Thessaly lowered her hands. Cole looked at her. You just defeated a fleet without firing. She shook her head. No. She looked at the screens. They defeated themselves. 3 days later, the Karathi Combine lost control of 6 major systems. Independent government seized corporate facilities. Workers walked out. Scientists released stolen patents. Former Karathi employees began sharing evidence. The truth spread faster than the company could erase it, and then came the final revelation. A file appeared on Thessaly's terminal. It was marked Project Helios. Original creator, Thessaly Vey. She opened it. Her face went pale. Cole noticed. What is it? Thessaly looked at him. My drive wasn't just designed for faster travel. Cole waited. It can reach places no conventional ship can. How far? She stared at the data. Beyond the galactic boundary. Cole was silent. What's out there? Thessaly shook her head. I don't know. A second file opened automatically. Coordinates appeared. Then a message. Hello's test site. Status active. Cole looked at Thessaly. Active? She nodded slowly. Someone has been using my technology. Who? Thessaly stared at the coordinates. I think we just found out why the Karathi were so afraid of me. Cole stood. So what do we do? Thessaly looked toward the stars. For the first time, there was no fear in her eyes. We find out what they built. Cole smiled. Then I guess we're going somewhere. Thessaly looked at him. Anywhere. Cole nodded. Anywhere. The wayward star lifted from the settlement. Behind them, thousands of people watched. Ahead was unexplored space, and somewhere beyond the known galaxy was the secret the Karathi had spent years killing people to protect. Thessaly stood beside Cole in the cockpit. The old cargo hauler entered hyperspace. This time, neither of them was running away. They were going toward the truth. And whatever waited beyond the edge of the galaxy, it was about to learn one very important lesson. Humanity had stopped walking past, and now humanity was coming. The wayward star entered hyperspace. For several minutes, neither Cole nor Thessaly spoke. The stars stretched into long silver lines outside the cockpit. Thessaly kept staring at the coordinates. Are you afraid? Cole glanced at her. Of course. She looked surprised. You don't act afraid. Cole smiled. That's because fear doesn't pay the fuel bill. Thessaly laughed softly. Then the ship suddenly shook. The lights flickered. Cole grabbed the controls. What was that? Thessaly checked the drive. The Helios signal. What about it? It noticed us. Cole frowned. Signals don't notice people. This one does. The navigation screen changed. The coordinates moved. Cole stared. The destination just changed. Thessaly nodded. Someone is controlling it. From where? Beyond the jump. Cole's expression became serious. That's impossible. Apparently not. The ship dropped out of hyperspace. Both of them stared through the cockpit glass. There was nothing ahead. No planet, no station, no stars, just darkness. Cole checked the navigation system. We're nowhere. Thessaly shook her head. No. She pointed ahead. Look again. A faint blue line appeared in space. Then another. Then hundreds. A gigantic structure slowly became visible. It was larger than a moon, Cole whispered. What is that? Thessaly stared at it. The Helios Gate. The structure began powering up. Massive rings rotated around its center. Energy flowed between them. Cole looked at Thessaly. You built this? No. Then who did? She didn't answer. A transmission appeared, only 3 words. Thessaly, come home. Her face went pale. Cole immediately closed the channel. Who was that? Thessaly remained silent. Thessaly. She finally spoke. My mentor. Your mentor, Dr. Arvin. I thought he was dead. So did I. The Helios Gate opened. A path of blue light formed through its center. The wayward star was pulled forward. Cole fought the controls. We're losing control. Thessaly grabbed the console. Don't fight it. You're kidding. Now the gate is moving us. Where? Thessaly looked at the coordinates. I don't know. The ship entered the gate. Everything went white. For a few seconds there was no sound. Then, silence. The stars returned. But they were different. Cole looked at the navigation display. His mouth opened slightly. We're outside the galaxy. Thessaly stared at the screen. The Milky Way was visible behind them, a massive spiral of light. Beautiful, distant, impossible. Cole whispered, We actually did it. Thessaly didn't celebrate. She was looking ahead. Something was moving in the darkness. Thousands of ships. Not Karathi, not human, something else. Cole activated the scanners. The system immediately crashed. That can't be good. Thessaly looked at the ships. They've been waiting. A transmission arrived. This time the voice was calm. Thessaly Vey. She stepped toward the communication panel. Arven, the voice answered. Yes. Why? Because you finished what we started. Thessaly's expression hardened. You stole my work. No, you erased my name. I protected your work. You chained me. Silence. Then Arven spoke. I needed the galaxy to believe you were gone. Cole stepped forward. That excuse usually comes before the villain does something stupid. Arvin ignored him. The Karathi wanted the drive as a weapon. And you? I wanted it as a door. Thessaly looked at the enormous fleet. What is beyond that door? Arvin answered. Survival. A massive object appeared behind the fleet. It looked like a planet, but it was moving slowly toward them. Cole stared. That's not a planet, Thessaly whispered. No, it is a ship, Arvin continued. Your drive opened a path to the last civilization outside our galaxy. Thessaly looked at the enormous vessel. How many? Billions. Cole's expression changed. Billions of people? Yes. Why are they coming here? Arvin's voice became quiet. Because their galaxy is dying. Thessaly looked toward the Milky Way, then back at the approaching fleet. How long? Arvin answered. 3 years, Cole frowned. Until what? Their sun collapses. Thessaly went silent. The scale of it was almost impossible to understand. Billions of refugees, another galaxy, a dying civilization, and only 3 years. Cole looked at her. What happens if we don't help them? Arvin answered. They die. Cole exhaled slowly. And if we help them? Arvin paused. We change the galaxy forever. Cole looked at Thessaly. She looked frightened, but she wasn't backing away. Then we help them, Cole smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. The transmission ended. For several seconds, the cockpit remained silent. Then Thessaly noticed something. Cole. What? The Karathi followed us. Cole turned. Behind them, several ships emerged from the Helios gate. Their engines were burning at maximum power. Cole laughed bitterly. Of course they did. Thessaly looked at the incoming fleet. They don't know what is waiting here. Cole returned to the controls. Then let's make sure they find out. The Wayward Star turned around. Cole opened a public channel. Every ship in the area received the transmission. This is Captain Cole Ashby. The Karathi commander responded. Stand down. Cole smiled. No. You are ordered to surrender. Cole looked at Thessaly. She nodded. He opened every channel. Everyone listening right now, look behind me. The camera turned. The enormous refugee fleet filled the screen. Thousands of alien ships, millions of lives, and behind them, a dying galaxy. Cole spoke again. The Karathi came here for one woman. He paused. They may have just discovered they are standing between billions of refugees and a second chance. The Karathi fleet slowed. For the first time, they were afraid. Thessaly stepped beside Cole. She looked into the camera. My name is Thessaly Vey. Her voice was calm. I was once chained to a pole with a sign that said nobody wanted me. She looked toward the refugee fleet. Today, billions of people need somewhere to go. She took a breath. And this time, no one gets left behind. The transmission ended. Cole looked at her. You realize that's going to cause a war? Thessaly nodded. Yes. Cole smiled. Good. The engines roared. The Wayward Star moved toward the impossible fleet. Toward the dying galaxy. Toward the war that was coming. And toward a future nobody had ever imagined. Because the woman who had once been called worthless had become the person standing between two galaxies. And she wasn't alone anymore. The Karathi fleet stopped. Nobody fired, nobody moved. For several seconds, the two fleets simply faced each other. Then the Karathi commander opened a channel. You have no idea what you're protecting, Cole answered calmly. Then explain it. The commander hesitated. Thessaly watched him carefully. You know what's beyond that fleet, she said. The commander looked at her. You were never supposed to see it. Cole leaned closer to the microphone. Too late. The commander disconnected. Then something strange happened. One Karathi ship turned away, then another. Then 5 more. Cole stared at the display. They're leaving. Thessaly shook her head. Not all of them. A group of Karathi ships remained, their weapons powered up. Cole sighed. There's always a few. The first missile launched, Cole moved the Wayward Star forward. Thessaly grabbed the controls. Don't. Why? Let me handle it. She opened the Helios drive. A small field formed around the ship. The missile entered the field, then disappeared. Cole stared. Where did it go? Thessaly looked at the readings. Somewhere else. Cole smiled. I like that answer. More missiles launched. Thessaly activated the drive again. Every missile vanished. The Karathi ships began firing rapidly. Nothing reached the wayward star. The refugee fleet watched in silence. Then the massive alien vessel behind them opened its engines. A wave of energy moved across space. The Karathi ships lost power. Every single one. Their weapons went dark. Their engines stopped. The battle was over without a single shot being fired. Thessaly stared at the giant vessel. What did they do? Cole shook his head. I'm beginning to think we should stop asking. A message appeared. Do not fear us, Thessaly replied. We don't. Another message appeared. Then come closer, Cole looked at her. You ready? Thessaly nodded. The wayward star moved forward. The enormous vessel opened. A docking tunnel appeared. Cole slowly guided the ship inside. The doors closed behind them. For the first time, they were completely surrounded by another civilization. The interior looked nothing like a ship. It looked like a city. Artificial sunlight filled enormous chambers. Thousands of beings moved through the corridors. Children played near transparent walls. Machines carried supplies. Medical stations operated everywhere. It was a civilization in motion. Thessaly whispered, They're refugees. Cole nodded. Billions of them. A figure approached. It was tall. Thin. Its skin was almost transparent. It stopped in front of Thessaly. You are the creator. Thessaly shook her head. I created the drive. The alien smiled. That is enough. It extended a hand. My name is Arian. Thessaly accepted it. I am Thessaly. I know. Cole raised an eyebrow. Everyone knows her. Arian looked at him. And you are the human. Cole nodded. Cole Ashby. Arian studied him. You stopped. Cole smiled. Apparently that's my reputation now. Arian laughed. Then his expression became serious. We have very little time, Thessaly asked. How long? 2 years, 9 months. Cole frowned. Arvin said 3 years. Arian looked at him. Arvin was being optimistic. Thessaly stepped closer. What happens then? Arian looked toward the stars. Our galaxy collapses. Silence filled the room. Cole finally asked the question. Can you stop it? Arian shook his head. No. Thessaly understood. You need a new home. Yes. And you came here. Yes. Cole looked at the massive fleet. Where do you expect to put billions of people? Arian smiled sadly. That is why we need you. Thessaly looked confused. Me? You created the only technology capable of moving this many ships safely. Thessaly looked at Cole, then at the fleet, then at the stars. The task was enormous, but for the first time in her life, nobody was asking her to build something for profit. Nobody was asking her to build a weapon. They were asking her to save lives. She nodded. I'll help. Arian bowed his head. Then we begin. Back on the wayward star, Cole opened the ship's engine compartment. Thessaly joined him. You know, Cole said, I thought rescuing you was going to be the complicated part. Thessaly smiled. It was. Cole looked at the endless refugee fleet. This is worse. Yes. He sighed. Good. She laughed. For several hours they worked together. They studied the alien engines. They studied the Helios Gate. They studied the route into the Milky Way. Then Thessaly found the problem. We can't move them. Cole looked at her. Why? The gates aren't stable enough. How many ships can pass? Maybe 10,000. And they have? Several 100,000. Cole stared. That sounds like a problem. It is. Thessaly opened the calculations. If we force the gates to carry more ships, they'll collapse. Cole asked, What if we build more gates? Thessaly looked at him. That would take years. Cole smiled. Unless we build them differently. She froze. What? Cole pointed toward the old cargo ship. You've been thinking like an engineer. And I've been thinking like a cargo hauler. Thessaly stared at the ship, then slowly smiled. You want to build temporary gates. Exactly, she began calculating. Her expression changed. It could work. Cole grinned. That's what I wanted to hear. Outside, the refugee fleet waited. Behind them was a dying galaxy. Ahead was an uncertain future. And between them stood a human cargo hauler and an alien engineer who had once been left chained beneath a simple sign, free. Now they had to make that word mean something for billions, and they had less than 3 years to do it. The work began immediately. Thessaly and Cole spent the first day studying. The alien fleet, there were too many ships, too many lives, and nowhere near enough time. Thessaly projected the calculations across the engineering room. We need 12 temporary gates. Cole looked at the numbers. 12? Yes. And how long to build them? 6 months, Cole frowned. We don't have 6 months, I know. They both looked at each other. Then Cole smiled. Let's make it 3? Thessaly raised an eyebrow. You're possible. So I've been told. They started with the first gate. It was built from 3 different technologies. Human navigation, systems. Thessaly's Helios drive, and alien energy cores. Nothing like it had ever been built before. For weeks, they worked without stopping. Engineers arrived from dozens of worlds. Refugees volunteered to help, even former Karathi. Technicians joined them. Nobody cared who had invented what anymore. Everyone had the same goal: build a road between galaxies. The first gate was finally ready. Thessaly stood beside. Her hands were shaking. Cole noticed. Nervous. Yes. Good. She looked at him. Good? It means you care. Thessaly smiled. The first test ship entered the gate. Everyone waited. Nothing happened. Then the ship disappeared. A few seconds later, its signal appeared on the other side. It had worked. The entire station erupted in cheers. Thessaly closed her eyes. For years, she had imagined this technology being used, but never like this. Never to save people. Cole walked over. You did it. Thessaly shook her head. We did. Cole smiled. Careful. Why? I might start getting emotional. She laughed. Then the alarm sounded. Everyone froze. A technician ran into the room. We have a problem. Cole's smile disappeared. What kind? Karathi. Thessaly looked toward the display. A fleet had entered the system, but this time wasn't attacking. The ships were damaged. Their weapons were offline. Their engines were barely functioning. Cole stared at them. What's going on? Transmission opened. A familiar voice appeared. The Karathi commander. We surrender. Nobody spoke. He continued. We have civilians aboard. Thessaly stepped forward. How many? 400,000, Cole looked at her. The commander continued. Our government abandoned us, Thessaly. Remembered the market, the chain, the sign, the word nobody wanted to say. She understood. Open the gates, Cole looked at her. You're sure? Yes. Even after everything they did? Thessaly looked at the damaged fleet. That's why. The gates opened. The Karathi ships entered, slowly, one by one. No weapons, no threats, just refugees, children, families, people, who had nowhere else to go. Cole watched them. Passy looked at Thessaly. You know what you've done? She nodded. I gave them the same thing you gave me. What? A place to go. Cole smiled. The final gate came online 2 months later, then the third, then the fourth. Soon, the galaxy was connected by a network of artificial corridors. Ships began moving continuously. Millions of refugees crossed into the Milky Way. The operation became known as the Great Passage, and Thessaly became its heart, but she never called herself a leader. Whenever reporters asked her why she did it, she gave the same answer. Because I know what it feels like to have nowhere to go. Cole always stood nearby, and whenever someone asked him why he stayed, he simply shrugged. Someone has to fly the ship. But everyone knew the truth. He had stopped walking past, and he never started again. Then, one morning, the final warning arrived. The dying galaxy had, begun to collapse. The last wave of refugees was still trapped. 3 million beings remained, and the final gate had only hours before it became unstable. Thessaly looked at the countdown. Cole stood beside her. How many ships? 8,000. How many can we move? She stared at the numbers. 5,000. Cole was silent. Thessaly whispered, "We can't leave the others." Cole looked at the gate, then at the endless fleet. He made a decision. "Then we don't use the gate." Thessaly looked confused. "What?" "We bring the gate to them." Her eyes widened. "Cole." He smiled. "Cargo hauler, remember?" And for the first time, Thessaly understood exactly what he meant. They weren't going to abandon anyone. Not this time. Not while they still had a ship. Not while they still had a choice. The wayward star turned toward the collapsing galaxy, and, followed by thousands of ships, Cole Ashby flew straight into the darkness. The wayward star entered the dying galaxy. Behind it came the rescue fleet. The stars ahead were turning red. Entire systems were beginning to collapse. Thessaly watched the readings. 3,000,000 people are still waiting. Cole nodded. "Then we bring them home." The first temporary gate opened. One ship crossed, then another. Then hundreds, thousands followed. The gate began shaking. Thessaly shouted, "It won't hold." Cole looked at the controls. "How long?" 6 minutes. Cole pushed the engines harder. "Then we have 6 minutes." The final ships rushed toward the gate. Families. Children. Medical vessels. Old cargo ships. Everyone was trying to escape. Behind them, the galaxy began to break apart. A massive wave of energy moved across space. The gate started collapsing. "Cole." "I see it." "We have 100 ships left." Cole looked at the distance, then at the collapsing gate. He made his decision. He turned the wayward star around. Thessaly stared at him. "What are you doing?" "Going back. We don't have time." "I know." The old cargo hauler accelerated. Cole flew directly toward the remaining ships. He opened every communication channel. "This is Captain Cole Ashby." The frightened pilots listened. "Follow me." The wayward star became their guide. Cole led them through the debris, past collapsing planets, past burning stars, past fragments of ancient worlds. Thessaly worked beside him. "Left." Cole turned. "Down." He dropped the ship. "Now." The final ships entered the gate, one after another. The last civilian vessel crossed. Cole pushed the engines to maximum. The wayward star followed. The gate collapsed behind them. Silence filled the cockpit. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the navigation system beeped. They were home. Thessaly looked at the display. "All 3,000,000. Cole leaned back. "All 3,000,000. Closed her eyes. Tears rolled down her face. Cole didn't say anything. He simply placed a hand on her shoulder. They had done it. Nobody had been left behind. Months later, the first permanent settlement was built. It became a home for refugees from both galaxies. Humans lived there. Karathi lived there. The survivors from the dying galaxy lived there. Nobody cared anymore which species had arrived first. They were simply neighbors. Thessaly became the director of the new intergalactic engineering program. But she refused to own the technology. The Helios drive remained free, open to everyone. No corporation could claim it. No government could lock it away, and no one could turn it into another weapon. Cole kept flying the wayward star. He still called himself a cargo hauler. Even after governments offered him medals, he refused everyone. One day, he returned to Vera 9. The old market was still there. The same twin suns hung above it. The same crowded streets filled the bazaar, but the metal pole was gone. In its place stood a small memorial. There were no chains, no corporate logo, no warning, only a simple, sentence. Nobody should ever be left behind. Thessaly stood beside Cole. She looked at the memorial quietly. "Do you remember the first thing you gave me?" Cole smiled. "Water." She nodded. "You didn't ask who I was?" "No." "You didn't ask what I could do?" "No." "You didn't ask what I could give you?" Cole looked at her. "You were thirsty?" Thessaly smiled. "That was enough." Cole looked toward the stars. "Still is." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Thessaly pointed toward the sky. A new ship was rising above the market. Its engines were based on the Helios drive. Its destination was another galaxy. Clee smiled. "Looks like we built something useful." Thessaly laughed. "We?" Cole shrugged. "I carried the tools." She shook her head. "You're impossible." Yeah, they walked away from the memorial. Behind them was the place where Thessaly had once been. chained ahead was a galaxy filled with possibilities. And somewhere in that vast universe, millions of people were alive because one human had stopped walking. He hadn't rescued a princess. He hadn't defeated an army. He hadn't planned a revolution. He had simply seen someone who needed help, and he had stopped. That small decision changed 2 galaxies. The woman once marked V2271 became an engineer whose name was remembered across the stars. The man who had freed her remained exactly what he had always been, a cargo hauler, stubborn human, and someone who believed that freedom should never have a price because sometimes the greatest changes in the universe don't begin with weapons, they begin with compassion. Canteen of water, a broken chain, and one person brave enough to see you're not staying here. And this time, the word free finally meant exactly what it was supposed to mean.